Hello, everybody. Jim Malone here, coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. Well, it is Thursday, and the market has rebounded, thank goodness. I've been buying today. I've been buying a lot of stuff, more than I normally would, because I was stopped out of so many positions. And I just kind of like to show you a little bit about that and how we're doing there, and then possibly get into your questions after that. Just hope everyone's doing well. And without further ado, let's get into some of the slides here. Yeah, let's get into some of the slides. Basically, um, the situation is these are the stocks that I'm buying today. I bought AutoNation. It's down a little bit, but very strong composite rating. Kind of wanted to show you that. Hopefully, after hours, it's bounced a little bit. We'll see how this one does, but it's coming out of a very nice pattern. Again, it seems to be very strong. So I definitely bought this one this morning. I also went back into Nvidia. I think this is a good time, possibly to get back into Nvidia, but don't wait too long because we are getting to the point where we're a little extended. We're up $5.49 today. Again, very strong composite rating of 99 on that. Trying to buy some quality merchandise here, so you'll notice that on the ones that I'm buying, on the stocks that I'm buying today, there's some pretty quality in terms of in terms of in terms of the the numbers, 99 composite rating. That's a pretty good number. That's a pretty good number, and it'll hold up. I'm pretty sure, pretty well. So, just wanted to show that's the second stock I've bought today, and that was Nvidia. Um, Also, I bought an interesting one this morning. This is off of a buy stop limit order that I put in. This one's not quite as strong as Nvidia or AutoNation, but still composite rating of 93, pretty good. Lots of volume coming into this one. This is a natural gas play. It's called Dorchester Minerals, DMLP, and it's kind of interesting. It's kind of misquoted in terms of where it's in, but it's in the E&P area, but it isn't really an E&P. Basically, what it is it's a master limited partnership. So basically, what it is it's a bunch of natural gas properties, primarily in Texas, but other places too, doing very well. There's probably going to be a very strong rise in the price of natural gas this year. So it's unfortunate for the people in the Northeast. They're going to be paying, I'm afraid, out the nose this year for a lot of reasons. But this might be a way to kind of soften the blow a little bit. This one is DMLP, Dorchester Minerals, and basically it's a natural gas, and also they also do crude oil as well. But it's really a natural gas play. We've seen just a tremendous, we've been seeing some tremendous action in the gas space for once. So as winter is coming up, I think this one might do very well as well. We'll see. But I did buy Snap as well. This one again, 95 composite rating, very good, but not 99 obviously. Try to buy them at least composite rating of 80, but this one's looking pretty good too. It's up today, down a little bit after hours. Volume's up, so I think Snap is starting to look good. Um, Facebook has been having some trouble. You might want to look at Snap as possibly an alternative because I think that it's showing some very very nice strength. Also, let's see. I bought Visa. Now Visa, I did buy it at a composite rating of 72. That's fairly low for me, but remember it is Visa. I do think we have a reversal here. This is kind of the earliest that you want to get into something like a Visa, but it was up $5.79 today, about 2.6%. So I think that hopefully it's reversed. This is the third day it's up, and it's up towards the top of top of its level, up about 2.6%. Fairly expensive stock, but I think a very good one. Visa. And that one might be one that you might want to put on your radar screen. It's buyable. We're not quite at the buy point yet. This is bought a little bit before the buy point, but I bought Visa today as well. And then of course I went back into the QQQ. As you can see, it bounced, and this is the third day in a row that it's moved up. But what was key for me on the Qs was that it moved up over that 40-day moving average. So that's this red line here. So that was pretty key for me. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was pretty key for me the way it moved there. So I did definitely buy that today. The volume is up on that one. This essentially is an index fund. You know, it basically covers the top 100 stocks in the Nasdaq. Now the question is, did we get a bounce here? You know, what's going to happen? All good questions. All very good questions. Interesting stock of the day today. I didn't buy this one, but it's very interesting because you know, who would have thought? I mean, I don't know if you remember when Dell was public and then it was taken private and then now it's back public and it's just people are just looking at it and they're going, "Wow, this is strong." I mean, basically it's in a buy zone. And the really the entry point's about $101. It's about 103 right now. So you could definitely buy this one possibly tomorrow. It's looking very strong. I mean, it's got a 99 rating, which is incredible. And you know, it's gained so far this year, it's gained 40%. So you know, they did spin off VMware, which had a lot to do with that, I think, but very, very strong right now. So this one you might want to put on your radar screen too. People are buying their computers. You know, the industry group ranking, I wish it was a little bit higher, but still, this is just very, very strong. Dell Technologies. Um, Kind of want to show you what I'm currently in. I did, as I said, you know, I did have quite a few. I'm kind of in quite a few things right now. Just seeing where the strength is. Macy's, it's up again. This one, it's amazing. Macy's has done very very well. This department store group, for some reason, in the last few months, has just been incredibly strong. Um, I'm I have several positions in Palantir. I do kind of believe in this stock. It's up about $1 36 cents a day, or about almost 5% on pretty heavy volume, 27% up. So I still like this one. It's not quite at a buy point, but it's looking pretty good too. Robert Half, that just keeps on going up. I really like this one. I'm just going to keep it as long as it keeps on going. Down a little bit on top build, but not much. Only 19 cents, less than an eighth of a percent. So this is basically even. This is the if you don't want to buy a specific E&P oil and gas stock, here's a good way to go. And I think this was the leader yesterday. This fund was the leader yesterday. Energy Select Spider, and the symbol is XLE. And the two ones that were the two sector spiders that were up the most yesterday were XLE and XLF, which is the financial. But I do think that this one is one that you might want to consider. I say it's only, but it's $50.58 a share at the current, up about $3, about 177, or about 3.63%. So looking pretty good there. Goldman, I'm still in Goldman. It's up $6. You know, I was holding it, and you know, I think it's on the mend here. I am a little bit concerned with Goldman based on what's happening with the interest rates. I think they might get hit. So I have a kind of a watch on Goldman. Wouldn't recommend probably going into that as a new position right now as much. PerkinElmer, again, I really like this company. Almost all the life science companies in the world buy their equipment. They make gene sequencers. PKI is the symbol. It's up about 0.75%, or about $101.39. Again, we talked about NVIDIA. It's up about 2.66%. Very strong move, $5.83 up. Now, I did buy AutoNation and it immediately retreated on me. So, hey, you win some, you lose some. But I still like AutoNation. I still like the Automobile Dealer Group. Why? Because of the chip shortage. It's very hard to make new cars. So the fight for once, the automobile dealers sort of have the upper hand. There's no discounts practically at all, and stuff is selling for full price. I mean, I went into a Chevrolet dealership, and you know, it's really hard to buy a Tahoe right now, believe it or not. You know, and they're selling for full price. So AutoNation, automobile dealerships, they should do well. Of course, I talked a little bit about Dorchester Minerals. This is not a very expensive stock. It's only 17.97, but it is up over a little over 4% today. And this is the natural gas one that I'm kind of anticipating there's going to be a shortage of, you know, a somewhat shortage of natural gas this winter, especially in the Northeast. So I think they're going to have very high. Unfortunately, I think they're going to have very high heating bills in the Northeast, but that's kind of the way there. Again, I bought Snap today. It's up a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back one. There we go. We could go back one. Snap, it's up a little bit today. Visa, it's up nicely, $5.63. $2.53, and then the Invesco QQQ Trust, it's up about 1% or about not a whole lot, about $3.90. This is a fairly expensive stock. So that's kind of my take on the market and kind of what I have been investing in today. And hopefully everybody else is doing well today. Let's get to some of the questions. I want to see if there's anybody on TikTok. Somebody's looking to find out a little bit about Etsy on TikTok. So let's get into that. Well, there we go. All right, so let me pull on over to oops. Oh, there we go. Didn't quite. I'm just flipping over to the charts here. There we go. And we'll take a look at Etsy, ETSY. All right, let's take a look at Etsy, the chart on that. And let's see if I can bring that up. There we go. Okay, so with Etsy, we've moved past this reversal, and it seems to be handling it fairly well. This is the reversal line, so we're definitely the stock has definitely moved into an uptrend. Now I do have a little bit of concern here. The relative strength line is pointing down, so the question is it a good time to enter this? Well, we came through earnings. We did have a little bit of a hiccup on the earnings. It was down 9%. So the sales were up, but the profits were down. So that's a little concerning to me. But Etsy has strong cash flow, and it's in quite a good group, the retail internet group, which I definitely like. Now I have but I don't know. There may be better merchandise out there. It's actually very good merchandise. We've got a checklist of 89%. Really, the only thing that's missing on this is the sales. They just weren't as good as they have been for Etsy. But overall, looks pretty good. Now, could you buy this thing? We're a little bit below the buy point. The proper buy point on this one, 251.86. We're currently at 223. Yes, you could definitely start buying it here because we're reversing higher. And so I definitely think you can, but you don't want to go in with a full position. So what I would recommend is, this is definitely buyable, but it's at the point where it is buyable, but it is. I would only buy a half position. And the reason is because it's below the buy point, and I think that would be more prudent. So I definitely think Etsy is buyable right now. You could definitely buy this one, but I would only buy a half position. And what do I mean by a half position? Well, a half position is if you look at your portfolio, it's like a pizza. And you divide that pizza up into 8 slices. Well, each slice is one full position. So if you were to buy Etsy, let's say for instance you had an $8,000 portfolio, because the math's easy for that. That would mean that one full position would be equal to $1,000 worth of shares. So if you were in a situation like that, if you were going with a half position, you could only buy 2 shares of this, or or about $500 worth of it. But that's how you should go in. If you have a portfolio that has a value of about $8,000, 8 full positions, each position is worth about $1,000, and then divide the share price into that, and that gives you the number of shares that you can buy. So with a half position, if you went in a half position on Etsy with an $8,000 portfolio, you could buy 2 shares, which by the way isn't bad because with expensive shares, people think, well, if I can buy a really cheap stock and I could buy a lot of shares of it, is a great thing. Well, that's good, but sometimes it's better to buy a more expensive stock, fewer shares, because you know what? And unfortunately, in a lot of times in the stock market, you sort of get what you pay for, and that can be a situation where sometimes it's better to buy fewer shares of the much better stock than not as good a stock. That's kind of what I do. So But Etsy's looking good. Definitely, you could go with a with a half position in it. I think easily. Oh, hey, thank you, Jeet. Thank you so much. I'm going to take a little picture. I'm just going to take a picture of that for every. I'm going to put that on live. Yeah, take a picture of that. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's take a look at ICLR and let's look at that. By the way, if you're interested, if this is of value to you and you're making money, which hopefully that's the whole idea here, um, please like the please like it. If you're watching on YouTube, and also possibly consider joining the Discord room because we even have other things like spread trades in there, and it's also a group of some very good traders. In there now that also have also very good ideas as well. So that's also available in the Discord room, and that's available at www Dallas Trading Floor. So let's look at Icon PLC, and this is interesting. I don't know this one. Irish provider of contract clinical research services to the pharma industry. Well, yeah, that's probably a good business. I don't know this company very well, but it has a very strong relative strength. So let's kind of do a little sleuthing here to see if it's a good one. Well, the checklist is definitely good enough. It didn't quite make the EPS rating, but it looks it's the earnings aren't as quite as strong as I'd like it, but they're still pretty darn strong. Look at this. We've got an increase of 40% in the number of sales, and the profits are up 15%. This is looking very, very good, actually. Here's the thing. One of the things, if you can find a stock that is increasing its sales 20% a quarter, and subsequently also with their profits, that's one to watch because those kind of stocks can really, really add up. So that definitely makes the grade there. This is a very nice medical research number 9. You know what? Here's the thing. I only have one problem with this. I really like this stock, and if it was in a buy zone, I would probably be all over it. So I'm going to go to the daily chart here and show you probably why I would not buy it. I would put it on a watch list, but I wouldn't buy it. I want to show you this. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit here to kind of show you this. If you notice on my chart, you see this little dotted line here? That's the buy point. That's the first stage cup, and the pivot on this is 234.22. Currently, we're at 281.56. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's always best to try to buy a stock if you're entering the position for the first time within 5% of the pivot. And unfortunately, we're not we're far above that. So here's what I would recommend with Icon. I think it's a great stock. I think it's set up well, but I wouldn't buy it. And the reason I wouldn't buy it is because the stock is extended. And so wait for a base. And that's kind of thing. And that's a tough thing to do, when you have a really good stock. The stock is a little bit it's extended. That's actually a good thing. But if you were to buy this above the pivot here, you could potentially buy it, but it needs to be closer back to this 10-day line. So today it pulled up. My guess is we'll probably see a pullback. We'll probably see a pullback tomorrow. So I think if it pulls back, nearer to this point, let me zoom out here a little bit. Here, let's do that. There we go. If it this little pink line here is we don't want to buy it too far above that pink line. That's basically what they call extended. So looking at this, we are over 5% above the 10-day moving average. So here's what I would recommend. If you want to buy this one, and I wouldn't buy a full position, you can, but you need to wait for it to come back closer. And this is really the art of more the art rather than the science. Closer to about 267. Okay, because that's where the 10-day line is. Right now, if you were to buy that, more than likely the first thing that would happen would be it would move back to the 10-day line. So I suspect this one will move back tomorrow. So wait for it to come down a little bit to about 267. And then you could possibly buy a half position. Now, even with that, you're still quite far extended from the pivot. The optimal place to buy a stock typically is when it's coming out of a base. This is a cup base. So the ultimate place to buy it is there. You see that? Okay, that's the optimal place to buy it, but it's very hard because it'll come right up there and it may move above that. So that's the optimal place to buy it. The further you get from this breakout, the more likelihood it is to pull back, you see, because it went right up here, it broke out, it came right up, and then it was at the top of the buy zone, then it retreated. And this is very common. And then it had to make a second run on it, and it had enough pressure this time, and it went all the way up. So my guess is if you were to buy it here, even though it's a great stock, it's going to pull back probably to at least the 10-day line. That's what I was talking about there, at least the 10-day line, and maybe further. So here's what I would do with that. I wouldn't buy this one right now. I think it's a good stock, but tactically, you're not in the right location. So I would watch this one, wait for it to form a base, and yeah, I think it's a great stock. I think it's a great stock. All right, let's look at SMTC. Let's look at SMTC. SMTC is Semitech. Another good company. These are good. These are good names. I mean, people are coming out with really nice. Now, one of the things I really like about Semitech here, it's first of all, it's in the buy zone, so it's not extended. That's very good. So this is right now, and let's check the checklist. I always like to check the checklist. Boy, that's a good checklist. So right now, this one is buyable. You know, this one is buyable right now. So I definitely think you can buy this one. So the stock is not extended and buyable right now. There we go. Yeah. So that's a kind of a cool thing. You could absolutely buy this stock, Semitech, SMTC. You could buy this right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the stock here so that you can kind of see this. So let's get that out of the way. Got to want to see the price. So let's zoom in. Go. And what I'm talking about here, and we'll kind of zoom in on it. As you can see, this is a cup, and this is the handle here, and then 79.44 is the buy point, and it's moved past the buy point, and it's into this little blue shaded area. That's the buy zone. So you could definitely buy this one right now, and I think this is a very good stock. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to get my little thing here. Semitech, this is buyable right now. SMTC. I'm going to put buyable because I like to keep notes for myself so that I can come back and tell what I've done here, all the charts that I've looked at, because it's so helpful, looking at these charts. Okay, AVGO, and that is EVGO. I think this is the fertilizer company. No, it's Broadcom. I'm sorry. I always get confused with Broadcom because it merged, but this one also is good, by the way. Very nice. It's in the fabless semiconductor. The semis are getting a lot of love right now. This is number 4 out of 197. So this is one of the best areas of the market. We're going to take a look at some of the areas of the market here in just a second. But this company, AVGO Broadcom, fabless semiconductor, kind of like NVIDIA. Now, most of my investment right now is in NVIDIA, but this one is excellent. This one is excellent. It's right in the buy zone. I have a little bit of concern, but these are just minor things. The relative strength is only 73, which I'd like to see it higher, but this one has come out of a base, so that's good. Was a consolidated base, and it's come out of that. This is powerful because when it moves out of a base pattern, that's when you want to buy it, and you can see that's where the buy point is. The buy point 494.60, and then it came right out of there, and then it's right in the buy zone. So this is definitely buyable right now. But let's look at this area. Let's just kind of look at, you know, how the industry is doing. Well, the industry rank right now is number 4. So this is just about as good as it gets. I mean, this is a very good rating here. But what I want to do is I want to go and I want to look at that entire sector. So I'm going to view other stocks in the sector and see kind of how they're looking. So let's look at kind of where things are kind of looking. And this is the fabulous semiconductor area, and basically that's gives us all of this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to sort them by rating. All right. So hopefully I can get that. There we go. Okay. So this is from top to bottom. Hopefully I did that right. There we go. That's from the lowest rated to the top rating. Okay, so we're going to look at the top ones down. Interestingly enough, in this group, this is a tremendous group, the Alpha Omega Super. I don't know who that. So AMD is very strong in this group. Also, NVIDIA is very strong in this group, and of course Brooks. We all know about Brooks. Well, and Amcor Technologies. Broadcom, it's in there, but it's not as strong in terms of the other ones. It's got an 86 relative strength, but it looks like it's coming up. But we also probably want to look at some of these ones. We want to kind of check in to see how AMD is doing, because that's actually, according to this, that's a little stronger in this group, and this is a very, very strong group. Now, the thing about AMD, and you can see I have a lot of markups in this because I've bought this. This has moved, and I'm going to reactivate that. There is a reversal line that I have in there that it's pulled right up to. So you might also want, from as well as Broadcom, you might want to look at AMD, because that one is looking very, very good as well. Let's look at. I also want to look at Nvidia. Now I bought Nvidia today. As I say, this is the one I've mostly in, is Nvidia. It has the cup with handle, but it's bounced right off of the it powered right through the buy zone here. So that's also ones you might want to put on your loss list. So here's what I would say. I definitely think you can buy Broadcom. I definitely think you can buy Broadcom, but you want to take a look at possibly AMD and NVIDIA as well, because those are also very good. I am running it on YouTube. So in order to see the chart, it's super easy. Just go to my profile, and then scroll down, and then you'll see at the bottom it has the YouTube feed at youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. So if you're not seeing on the TikTok, you're not seeing the charts. All right. He doesn't ever read us. No, I actually do. He says he doesn't ever read any of our comments. No, I do. I do, but I have a lot of them. How do we? Wait a minute. Okay. How do we convey that we will not see your screen? Well, you need to go. Here's the thing, and I want to address this directly to the people on TikTok. I can't broadcast. I can't broadcast in back of me on TikTok. So you have to go to YouTube. I can only do it on YouTube. So youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. All right. Okay. So let's see. No, seriously. Okay. BB, it's time to buy. Okay, well, let's look at BB just so we can see it. Let's look at BB. All right. Blackberry. Interesting. Interesting stock too. Let's kind of analyze Blackberry, and this is sort of a meme stock, which unfortunately right now it's in a downward trend. So I'm going to just draw a reversal line there and set an alert on that. So here's the thing I would say: it's got a very nice relative strength at 85, and it does have a lot of good things going for it. But the checklist is only a 44 on this one. So here's what I would do with BlackBerry. I just think unfortunately with BlackBerry, it's just not it's time to watch list this stock, but not buy. Don't buy. reversal. That's kind of my take. That's kind of my take on BlackBerry. It's best to watch this stock right now and wait until it reverses, but don't buy it until it reverses. And that's this line here. So if you're going to buy BlackBerry, wait until it moves above about 1285. If it moves above about 1285, then I think you could probably safely buy it. But we want to see a reversal on BlackBerry before you buy it because it's right now it's trending lower. All right, so let's take a look at Lucid. Is it time to short it? Good question. That's a good question, Ahmad. Um, LU, what is it? LCID. This was I guess this was the Bill Ackerman SPAC that became a company, and now it's a car company. You know, it's really tough to create a car company. It's one of the most difficult things that you can do out there, and it takes so much capital. It's just phenomenal. As a matter of fact, until Tesla came along, there hadn't been an American company that had successfully launched that didn't die since really the 1930s because all the other ones had been taken out. Tesla kind of broke that trend, but I don't know if I don't know if a lot of the other ones are going to. I've read that in China they have a lot of EV companies, and they're going to get rid of about half of them. So it's a tough business. I'm telling you, it's a tough business. Taking a look at this chart, this stock is in decline. So it might. I don't think it's necessarily a good time to short it because it's above um, it's above the 200-day line. But I think it might be potentially setting up. I think you might have something here. Here's what I would do. You got to wait until it falls below the 200-day line, and then it makes three attempts at coming back. Now it's fallen below the 200-day line, moving average. It's made one attempt here. It needs to make it needs to pull down and then make another attempt, and then the third attempt usually is when it'll collapse. But this doesn't really have a good shorting pattern right now. It doesn't have a head with shoulders pattern yet. So I'd be a little bit careful right now because we're still in an uptrend trending market, so it's very tough to short if you just don't have the absolute perfect pattern. Of course, that's the cup with handle. I'm not sorry, that's the head and shoulders pattern. I apologize there. So right now, I think I would refrain from shorting it. I would not buy this stock. I think it's going to be a lot of trouble. I think you're smart to identify this as a potential short, but it is looking at the chart and looking at the pattern. I don't think it has the exact correct pattern to short. So I just would leave it alone and move on and find another one. Let's look at. Well, I've taken a number of your question sheets and they're great, but I just want to move on to some. Just get everybody so we can get everybody in here. All right, this is a good question here. Jim, I'm holding CLR, this Cleveland Cliffs, just because you said it was looking good as well. Also, can I get an early point on Tesla? Let's look at CLR, and I don't know what's doing with CL. Was that right? Did I get that right? CLR. I, it helps if I put in the right. It helps if I put in the right symbol. Continental Resources. Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason I thought this was yes. Take a look. CLR is doing very very well. Look, it's up today. I don't know when you got into CLR, but I think you're in a good group here. Of course, I would say that, but you know, 97 relative strength. We're above the buy zone. You know, this was sort of where this is where the place to come into it was at about this 40-41. So if you bought right about here, you're looking pretty good. You're looking pretty good on this one, and I think you should hold it because we're at the very top of the range. I think you might get a little bit of adjustment tomorrow. I think it's likely to come down maybe a dollar or two tomorrow, but I think that the trend on this is very nice. The trend is your friend, as they say, and it's definitely going up on this one. Let's look at the other things here. 89 checklist. This is great. The only thing that's missing, of course, is the earnings. It's failing, but it's passing on everything else. I think this is a really good one. I think Continental Resources is really good. Let's look at some of the the fundamental things here, because it's not all technical. Because I'm mostly technical trader, but I'm also a fundamentalist too. Because I always like to see stocks that are that what their sales are going up, 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 and that's definitely the case here. Look, all last year they were losing money. Look at that. All last year they were losing money, but all of a sudden the price of oil went up, and boy, this is looking good. Up 38% in the first quarter, up 600% in terms of sales in the second quarter, and this is just phenomenal. This went from a loss to a profit to a profit. So this is looking very, very strong. Very, very strong here. Just want to kind of show you that box there. That's very nice fundamentals there. That's very nice fundamentals. So I definitely think it's looking pretty good. And you can see it's got a base on base on base. This is the base, second base, third base. So this is very, very strong. And one, two, three. Basically, on Friday, it started its move. 4 weeks ago, it started its movement up. Now, daily charts a little bit, a little bit more choppy, but this is looking very good. CLR, and it's Continental Resources. All right, so let's also look at Tesla. Let's see if we got a good entry point for Tesla. Now, I did do a Tesla spread for everybody out there, and I'll show you that in just a second. But Tesla is starting, I think, to make a move on this 780 range. That's very critical, and even though it's made a little bit of progress each day, kind of little baby steps up here, I do think that we're still obviously well below a buy point. Let's see if I can take some of this gobbledygook off here because I've got all this stuff on it. But let's look at Tesla without as much of the as much stuff as we're running. This is the reversal line, so we're definitely in an upward trend. That's a very good thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw this line. This is the intermediate buy point here, and I think that we're headed towards this about 780. Now currently we're at 760. So I definitely think if it moves above about 764, that might be a good place to get into it. Probably we're going to get a little bit of a pullback today, but it's just making very nice little graduated steps up here. So this is looking very good. This is looking very good. So I would be very interested in getting in at about 760 or so. So here's what I would do. I would kind of consider doing I would consider a half position if Tesla moves moves above 760. So that's kind of where that's kind of where I'd look to do it if it moved above about 760. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert here, and I'm just going to set an alert at 760, and I'm going to put a buy. I think that's really a buy point for Tesla, and I'm just going to put it out there, and that's about right there. Now I'm going to get rid of this other one that I had there before. Well, come on, come on. Well, it's not letting me. It's not letting me get rid of it. Let's see if I could do it like that. Okay. Well, anyways, it's right about here, 760. That's kind of where you want to go. So, if you can get if it moves right above here and we're almost right at it, I think you can definitely buy it because it looks as if it's making its move towards 760. Now, if you don't want to buy the shares, I just happen to have something for you here, and that is I have a spread trade. I have a spread trade for this, and I'll show this to you really quickly. I want to kind of go over to that. Well, let's see. Oh, get that spread up there for you. And I just did this one. Oh, I just did this one yesterday. So let's let's look at the deck here for this. I have 21 people have looked at it. Very good. I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing good on this trade. So I want to show you this this spread trade here that I have on Tesla. And this might be of something of interest to you. All right. So let's get the deck up. There we go. And let's kind of show you that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now, hopefully you can see it. There we go. Okay, great. So this is the spread trade that I have, and it's at www Dallas Trading Floor. Just kind of wanted to kind of go over it with you. I entered this spread trade on yesterday, and basically what's happened is Tesla is improving its relative strength, and it's holding above the 50-day average. And I think it's setting up for a run at 780. That's why I think that 760 is a good buy point on this. It's got a composite rating of 96. That's excellent. And an EPS of 72, which is not as good. But the key is the relative strength is above 80. It's 85. So that's really good. So basically, I think I entered this trade for it's $9.03 per contract. If you multiply it times $903 to get into this. But this kind of shows you sort of where we're at. So I want to kind of show you what's going on today. Now, this is where we started out with this trade, and this was yesterday. So I want to kind of find out where this is at now. Where this is out now. So let's see if I can do the right thing and bring up Tesla. Okay, we closed. Let's see. We closed at 753. So I'm just going to go back over here to this chart, and if we look at this, and I'm going to replace this here with where we ended up today with Tesla. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this where the closing price was. Let's see if I can get it here. Yeah, there we go. So the closing price for Tesla today was 753. So if we adjust this chart, and it's the 23rd today, I'm just going to move this to where 753 is. So it's right about here. So you can see, yeah, we've gone a little bit better. So you could possibly do this trade as well, and you can see we started here, and we've appreciated in 3 days. We've gone up to about $106 per contract. On this, about $900 was risk. We opened it here, and that's the current value today. I just adjusted it of where we are with about 753. Now, I do believe that we're going to see a strong movement from here up to about 780. So, if you're interested in this trade, you definitely it's easy to it's easy to get onto it. All you have to do is go to Dallas Trading Floor. .com, and that's the website. And then there we go. And this is how the website looks. Just go down here to where it says bullish calendar spread on Tesla, and you just click it there, and then just name it first and last name and email address. Click that, and you'll get the same deck that we just showed you. So that's a way that you could participate, even if you didn't want to buy the shares of Tesla. That might be a good way that you could participate on there. And as again, we're up today, so it's looking pretty nice on that. All right, let's look at Nike. This was a good stock for me, but I sold out of this one a while back, and it's just every dog has its day kind of thing. This one I did pretty well on. I was looking back but right before we came on the show, I was looking back on some of my records on it. But let's look at Nike, NKE, and see if it's viable at this level. There we go. Get rid of Siri there. Siri was trying to make her debut, but I cut her off there. All right. So here is Nike, and it does appear that we've been pulling back. See, this is where I bought my full position. I am sold out of this stock right now because I did check. I did sell it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, there we go. Okay, so we did have, it's been in this decline here down to the bottom of the flat base. We did have a nice bounce. We did have a nice bounce at 152. We definitely are headed on our way up, but I wouldn't buy it right now because we need it to come beyond this reversal line. That's what we need to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert on that on that reversal line. So we need to see Nike come above about 38.39, and that's right about here, in order for it to be. Let's see if I put that in. Let me see if it'll let me do that. There we go. Oh, I'm going to put that in. That's kind of the reversal line there that we need to see. There we go. Yeah, it's let me do it now. So what I kind of recommend on Nike, it's not a buy yet. You want to see it come and confirm that it's reversed higher. So I would wait on this one until Nike is above 162. So we're about $4 away from that. So I just set an alert on that for myself. At that, we're seeing some nice improving relative strength line. That's good. We're in this consolidation and we've bounced. That's good. The checklist is a little bit weak. It's basically the accumulation by the funds that's holding us up. But if you wanted to buy that one, you could buy that one early at about above 162. So here's what I would look at doing with Nike. You think Nike is viable above 162, and that's the reversal line. All right, so that's the reversal line, and so I definitely think Nike is available, is viable above that. But I think you've got to wait to see it move above this reversal line before you get into it. Now, when you're buying off a reversal line, it's not the same as if you're buying off a pivot. If you're buying off a pivot, you can typically go in with a full position. When you're buying off a reversal line, you want to go in with a half position because it's not as good a buy point. But that would be a place that you could go into Nike, and I think Nike is a great company. And I think that's a very good question. I appreciate it, and I appreciate that. So 162, that's kind of where we're looking. That's kind of where we're looking for Nike. All right, Palantir. I actually have a lot of Palantir, so this is good for me too. I'm gonna write down that we looked at Nike. All right, and then Palantir. Now, Palantir has both a technical and a fundamental story because I do think technically this is looking good, but I also think it's fundamentally looking good too. We moved past this very nice reversal and we've moved out of the buy zone, and now we're starting to see some real strength. I definitely has been buying this one on the way up. I think this is a good company, and I think that you could be well rewarded with this one. Now, can you buy at this level? Well, it's a little extended. That's why I wanted to show you this chart. It's a little extended, so it's getting a little bit late to buy this one. If you buy this one, you should do it relatively quickly, because I think we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves. We right now it's extended, and I don't typically like to buy stocks when they're extended, but in this case, I don't think you may not get another chance with Palantir, because I think what's happening with Palantir, and I'm going to take what I think is happening is now we're finally getting the IPO base. This is one of the reasons why you don't typically want to buy something when it first IPOs. It'll come out and then it'll go up and then it'll pull back, and the weekends will come out and then it'll move up a little bit and pull back. But this time I think we may see it move. It could potentially move as high as 34 very, very easily based on this chart. So It's got a very nice relative strength. So could you buy it here? Yes, but I think you better buy it quickly because it is extended a little bit over the buy zone. But that's a very good question. Very good question. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the TikTok people because I've been sort of neglecting them. Uh, how do we convey that we cannot see your screen? Well, I have talking to you directly. Um, the reason you can't see the screen is because it's being broadcast on YouTube. You've got to go to youtube.com/ Dallas Trading Floor in order to see that. Unfortunately, TikTok does not have the capability technically to do this yet. Um, so that's the situation there. Um, okay, thank you very much for following me, by the way. AMC is sitting still. Well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't know. I hope it's not the end of AMC, but it's probably out of juice, and we might have to find another one. But 39 is not a bad price for it. I wouldn't. What's happened is it reversed very nicely, went up, and then unfortunately it's lost power, and it's looking like it's getting some support at the 40-day line. It does have very good relative strength, but and a 78 checklist. But I'd be very concerned about buying this stock. Leisure Movies is 95 out of 197, so it's really not as good an area right now. Unfortunately, I wish it were, but I just think that it's probably a better idea not to buy AMC and possibly um, and possibly look at some of the oil stocks or some of the or some of the chip stocks. All right, let's look at Beyond Meat. I haven't, it's funny. I actually shorted Beyond Meat, but that was a while ago, and I haven't really done anything with it yet. The biggest problem that I see with Beyond Meat uh, is the fact that Beyond Meat is going to get a lot of competition from the big food conglomerate companies. I'm afraid, and I'm afraid that the chart kind of tells the story. And I wish it wasn't this way, but it just is. We have been in a decline on this, and I'm just going to draw the reversal line in here. Here's what I'm doing here, and I know this kind of sounds strange. I always want to buy a stock as it's moving higher. I don't like to buy a stock as it's moving lower. That's called catching a falling knife. So what I do is I draw these lines. I go from the peak and then I draw it down to the intermediates and I see where that line is. So by drawing that line, if the action is below that line, I know that the stock is in retreat. And unfortunately, it's in retreat. I will not buy a stock until it reverses at the very minimum above that line. So right now, that's this stock Beyond Meat. Unfortunately, is not buyable, and the reason is because the reason it's not buyable is because it's retreating in terms of price. So Beyond BYND is moving uh, is moving lower, so no buy. Really, um, so really the big thing here is that you want to follow the trend. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Is so the trend right now of Beyond Meat is going lower. It was 320. It was 221. It's half of what it was basically back in February. So it's lost half of its value since February. I don't really want to invest in it because it may lose another half of its value. This stock, by the way, is looking very much like a potential short. Okay, and here's why. We've moved. It was very popular, and it's moved below the 50-day moving average. It's come up to the 50-day average, and it's below it. And now, if it comes back up to the 50-day average once more, and it fails, that's where you want to short it, because this is starting to look like a potential short. Beyond Meat is looking like a potential short. So you don't want to buy this long. It's probably not gonna end up well. That's what I'm gonna say. This might be a good short, but it's still not time to short it. So I would kind of avoid this one for right now, because believe me, shorting a stock is tough. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I still have trouble shorting stocks. It's very, very hard to do it in an upward trending market. Um, but anyways, I would avoid Beyond Meat. Okay, thank you, Samuel. Let's look at MU. Of course, that's Micron, and there we go. Well, it looks like Micron is still, and I've noted this one too. I think you can see it. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. I've already kind of annotated this chart here, and I kind of want to show you the action on it. This is Micron. As you can see, we've been in a downward trend on Micron, and then it did cross above the reversal line. That's this here. I'm kind of highlighting it, and then but it didn't. It was a weak reversal. It was a weak reversal, so it still hasn't really trended up. So right now we can't do anything. Now I would consider buying Micron if it moves above this black line here. That's the 200-day moving average. But I want to see it reverse and move above that 200-day moving average before I probably will be interested in this one. The only reason is because, again, at least right now, it is showing the stock is showing that it is in a downward trend. Now let's look at the weekly chart to see if I'm right on that. Okay, well, it definitely is. Right now, Micron is still in a downward trend. It has moved below the 50-week moving average. This is the weekly chart, by the way. The 50-week moving average, and it's continuing its way down. So here's the thing. Here, when I'm looking for technical signals on when it's a good time to buy or when it's not, I look at I look at the 10-week move. I look at the 10-week moving average. That's this red line, and I look at the 50-week moving average, and that's this black line. If the red line, the 10-week moving average, crosses below the 50-day, that is what they call in trading. They call that the death cross, and unfortunately, that does not show. That's not the right direction. And another thing is, it's earnings in 5 days. So here's what I would do with this one. I really like the stock. I like the story, but I just don't like the technical action on this one so much. So what I would do with MU is I would watch list it. Watch list MU. See if it can move above the 10-week moving average. That's kind of how I would. That's kind of how I would. Oops. That's kind of how I would look at it. So, oops, that's a half position. So I really would watch this one, and just kind of wait until it needs to reverse, and it's just let's see if it can reverse, and then you could possibly look at buying it. But I just don't think right now it's viable, unfortunately, based on the fact that it is in a downward trend. Okay. Let's look at B. Let's take a bank stock. Bank of America, BA. Of course, it's a money center bank. Now, here's the thing. I think you have to be careful. I have some exposure in the banking sector. I have Goldman Sachs right now. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Boeing, not. I'm sorry. This is Boeing, not Bank of America. The Dow did very very well today, and Boeing, of course, is the largest. It was. I think it still is the largest exporter in the Dow. But I do have some concerns with Boeing, and they're primarily due to the fact that it's trading below the 200-day line. I just don't like to see it there. Now, I did short, way back in the COVID downturn, I did short Boeing, and it did pretty good. The checklist is good, 67, but oh, I just wish this was stronger. This group, this aerospace defense group, 117 out of 197. I just don't like that. So so I would say don't. I would say skip Boeing. I would say skip Boeing on this one. But it's one thing to tell you something and not to give you not to give you um, a solution here. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a look to see if there's anything I can find out there that is you know that does have the capability of giving us a better deal here. So I'm going to go over. Let's see if okay, I have to adjust the magnification there a little bit. And let's see, get back to, okay, let's get back to okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the sectors of the economy. And this is to see kind of which sector, where the sectors are the better, what sectors are the best, what are the best sectors. So according to what I'm looking at here, the industry group rank right now, and this is what I want. I want to go from high to low. There's 197 of these groups in the stock market. There we go. So the number one group is energy coal. Well, I don't think there's really much there. Department stores are really good. I have Macy's. Now, I don't have anything consumer loans. This is another area that you might want to look at. Also doing fairly well. And the chips are doing very well. And also the ships are doing well. Chips and ships. Well. But unfortunately, Boeing, it seems like boats are doing well and airplanes not so much. And so that's why, if you want to be in the transportation area, consider something in the shipping area, because that's where the market seems to be liking it. Now, it did pull back a little bit today, but it pulled up. So let's look at the top stocks in the shipping area. And let's see. Okay, well, Zim, and then there's Euroseas. This is a company I don't know much about. This one, well, it's not really Bible. It's $38. This one might be something you want to look at. I don't have it, of course, not making any recommendations, but this one it's a tanker company. They've got 18 tankers, very, very thin, up 197%. So let's look at this one. So this is what I'm trying to say is that instead of being in an aircraft manufacturer, maybe a shipping line would be the better bet, because that's sort of where it's going to go. Okay, I've got the last question here. Thank you, everyone. I'm kind of running out a little time, unfortunately, but let's take one more, and that is Sabre. And of course, that was originally, I think, part of American Airlines, if I'm not mistaken. SABR. Let's take a look at that. Sabre. And that's in South Lake, so it's pretty close to here, actually. Pretty close. Let's look at this one. Well, I like the action on the fact that the relative strength is increasing. I like the fact that the sales are increasing. That's also very good. So you can show you what I'm talking about here. Let's zoom in a little bit. I like that. But it's still below the 200-day line. I just don't like to buy stocks below the 200-day line. The checklist is 56%. So I'm not liking that as much. Here's the thing. It did pop really nicely today with these sales. Sales are up 405%, but it's still losing money. So here's what I would say with this one. I just think you've got to avoid it. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I think that as much as I would like to tout a stock like this, I think you've got to avoid for right now. So avoid S SABR right now. Yeah. So that's kind of my take. I would avoid Sabre right now because the chart just doesn't look very, very good. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. And by the way, I'll be back tomorrow at the same time, about 3:30, taking all your questions, as many as I can, anyways. And also, if you want to sign up for the action trailer, it's very easy to do. Just go over to www.Dallas Trading Floor, and it's free. And that's our action trade alerts. I think I'm going to be putting out the ready list tonight. If you're on the list, I'll be putting out the ready list. These are stocks that I'm looking at that potentially are ready to buy. They're not necessarily in the buy zone, but these are ones that are kind of my watch list, sort of what I'm looking at, my curated watch list to buy. But you got to be on the action trailers. You do that by going to www.Dallas Trading Floor. And okay, one more question, and this is coming from TikTok, and it's ExxonMobil. So let's look at XOM. Now, interestingly enough, the integrated oil companies, all oil companies are not the same. The integrated oil companies are not doing as well as some of the E&P companies like the one like Devon and those kind of companies. So right now, Exxon is definitely a unbelievable cash flow machine when it comes to dividends. It has a $10, this company has huge cash flow. So it might be viable just for that reason. Sales are up 108%. Of course, that has to do a lot with the sale of oil. So if you're looking for a dividend, this one might be worth considering. I mean, 67% on the checklist, that's very good. I'd like a little bit better, but this is not a growth stock. This is absolutely not a growth stock. This is sort of, this is the kind of stock that your grandparents would have had, because it's a great stock, and it's been very reliable over the years. It's still relatively inexpensive considering how good a stock it is. 57. Now, is this going to appreciate a lot in value? No. This is like having a very good. The ExxonMobil is kind of analogous to having an apartment building that's not in the greatest part of town, but it's always rented because it has great rents. That's kind of what Exxon is. It's a cash flow machine, and it does have a very good return. So if you're looking for dividend income, this is one to consider. But I wouldn't consider it as a growth stock. And I'm typically a growth stock investor, so I probably would not buy ExxonMobil. But I definitely, if I was looking to do dividend plays, if I was looking to do that, then I would definitely consider Exxon. It's a AAA company. It's not going to go out of business anytime soon, and um, historically, it's relatively inexpensive. The historic price for this should be over $60 a share. It's getting there. It's 57, and really the natural price of this is about $70 to $75 a share. So right now, I think it's a little bit of a good. It potentially could be a very good buy if you're interested in dividends, but just don't expect it to go up very quickly like some of the chip stocks or something like that. So without further ado, thank you very much for taking a look today. I'll be back tomorrow at 3:30, and thank you everybody. Um, and hopefully, I will be able to get more information. If you can, it's best. It's the easiest to get the quotes. It's easiest if you go to the YouTube channel and use the chat feature there, because it's easy for me to see those as well. So until tomorrow at 3:30, thank you everybody. Happy trading. Hope everybody's doing good. The fall's coming and it's looking nice. I will see you tomorrow.